Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. It is time for another episode of Thursday Thoughts. Half of the dynamic duo is not with us today. I look forward to sharing some details as to why as we get started with the show. But I don't want to keep you waiting. No random banter about Philly sports today, even though I can't wait for Eagles on Sunday and Sixers in 2 months. But let's jump right into it with another episode of Thursday Thoughts. Glad to have you with us. Lego. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Thursday Thoughts. Super excited to be talking about PR today. I have an amazing guest that I can't wait to introduce you to. But before we jump into that, we have to give a shout out to the newest member of the Navitas team who doesn't even realize he's on the team yet. Big shout out to the one and only Lucas Edward Homer. Was born just the other day, August 15th. This is my partner, Kevin's son. That's why he's not here with us today. So it's a good excuse to miss a great episode, but we just want to give a shout out to Lucas. Of course, I'll have to bring this picture up again in the show just for the cuteness value and what that does for a production. But super excited for Kevin, and blessings to him and Tara and new big brother, Landon, who is now big brother at the age of what, two and a half, something like that. But again, congrats to you, Kevin, and welcome to the Navitas family, Lucas. We're going to get right into it. I have an amazing guest today, someone who I love talking to and engaging with. We'll talk a little bit about our affinity for Two Dots and how she's kind of whipping my butt in that game. But it's the amazing Hope Horwitz. And if you don't know her, you need to know her. But let me tell you a little bit about Hope. So Hope was truly raised in PR. She was falling in love with the creative and entertaining events her mother, Charla, created as she launched her PR firm in 1984. Hope did event planning and fundraising with Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, the Make-A-Wish Foundation of New Jersey, and more, but always brought PR to it. Hope later joined Charla Felcher Public Relations in 2013, and the firm was eventually renamed Felcher Horwitz Public Relations, and Hope currently serves as VP and partner. In 2018, Hope completed the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, and in September of 2022, she's going to take on the role of president at the Philadelphia Public Relations Association. So please welcome the awesome Hope Horwitz to the show. Hi, Hope.
Hi. I love how you say in September 2022. That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, in a few days. She's in there.
And I have to say, Kevin emailed me to say, or commented in the LinkedIn, I can't remember, that he wasn't going to be able to join us. But it wasn't until I saw his post that I knew why.
Right.
Fabulous reason
to bring the cuteness back in.
Absolutely.
There we go. So yeah, super excited for him, but I know he loves talking to you, and you always bring the energy, and I'm sure he wanted to be here for this episode. Quick reminder to all the folks who are watching, please make sure you are liking, sharing the show. Make sure you're getting more folks in this, because you're going to get some good gems here. You know, there's going to be some good information shared about the wonderful world of public relations. But before we jump too far down that hole, Hope, just I know I gave you an introduction, but feel free to tell people a little bit more about yourself and what you guys do over there at HPR.
So about me, I was literally raised in it. My mother started her business when Sesame Place pursued her, wooed her, you could say, and she worked in the basement and took us to work with her. And I just remember being 10 or 11, and she was helping out a friend's father and taking a picture of him and his business. And I said, hey, Mom, go take it next to the sign of the company so that the company name is always there. We don't have to rely on anybody to put it in the text. And of course, my mother beamed, oh my God, she's a natural, blah, blah, blah. And Zach knows my mom. If anyone knows my mom, you can picture her doing that. Yeah. And, you know, we went through our steps. I'm a big component of you have to follow your path, do what you think is right for you, make your mistakes, and it leads to where you're supposed to be.
Right.
So I started here in 2013, right after my 8-year-old was born. And who knew? 8 years later, actually 9 years almost, because she'll be 9 in September. I love it. I couldn't be happier being here. It's now FHPR, and we really work with our clients to find their stories and then help them share their stories.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So I couldn't think of someone better to really give us sort of the down low in PR, both from a what you do perspective, and of course for small businesses that we're talking to, what are things that they can do on their own. So to jump right into it, I figured we'd start by just talking a little bit about, the evolution of PR. So kind of some of the new things that you've noticed have happened over the last, let's say 5-10 years. And of course, what the focus was, let's say 15-20 years ago. Now, my initial assumption is PR to me before was always like, press releases and getting in the newspaper. Like that was PR. But tell us a little bit about your opinion there, and of course, what you do now and what you notice different in the PR world.
So it still kind of is, but broader. We still write press releases. We also write media advisories, which are invitations to press to cover an event that's happening, while a press release is something that allows people to seek out coverage and a whole story. The differences really are about the technology. So social media plays a huge role, but it's more that PR produces content. We no longer have to type our press releases and make photocopies. We are not, when I was a kid, I was literally stuffing envelopes for my mother on a regular basis. And we don't need stamps anymore. We email everything and we can do things over Zoom. So a lot of the evolution of PR, I think, is a natural evolution with technology and where we all kind of evolve. Gotcha. I know we'll get into some of that as we go on.
Indeed. And one of the things I mentioned when I put up the post about it was like, a lot of folks come to us for a lot of PR stuff, and we're a marketing firm and it's not the same. And the only times I've ever written a press release, please trust me, I was reading PR people's press releases and trying to duplicate the vibe and the style and how they produce it. But there's a big difference between the two. And, one of the things I love about what you all do in the space is it's how it intertwines with events. And maybe you could speak a little bit to that, towards that world of PR and how it works with events.
Yeah, so there's different kinds of events is the first thing to comment on. Events don't necessarily have to be the huge events. So a PR firm is going to publicize that a big event is happening. We're not necessarily going to put on the big event. Sorry, I have my kids here, so I tried to, but that was very quiet. She did a very good job of just asking for tissues. So I used to do events. So for me, my mother is very creative. I always say that I affectionately say she has the maturity level of a 12-year-old. So when she's publicizing things, she's looking at the fun ways that we can get the city involved, get the press involved. So like a great example is when 42nd Street came to the Merriam Theater, which is now the Miller Theater. She used to do their PR a very long time ago. And she actually closed part of Broad Street, put a board out, and invited the cast to come out and dance with a senior tap group and a children's tap group. Okay. And it was that kind of creativity and stuff that I loved. So I wound up taking a 15-year hiatus from PR, and I planned major events and did fundraising. I did the Walk to Cure Diabetes. These are huge events. We had 5,000 people at the event. Now what I'm planning are much smaller events that are much more similar to the 42nd Street event. We're looking at a way to illustrate in a fun, creative, active way. We want to give the news a visual and a story and something, a lot of what we do is lighthearted. PR is not all lighthearted. It depends on what you're publicizing. But for some of my clients, we work with the Bucks County Playhouse. It's lighthearted. On Tuesday, we literally took 4 members of the cast of Dames at Sea, which is a tap dancing show that winds up performing on a battleship. The whole thing's in one day. The show's absolutely adorable. But we took them down to the USS New Jersey battleship, or Battleship New Jersey. I always mix those up. And we put down a tap floor, and we had them actually tap dancing on the real battleship. And we had coverage, and Fox, ABC, and NBC came, which was our goal. Is we want to get the story of what's happening out, and in this case, so that people will buy tickets and want to come see Dames at Sea.
Got you. And I actually saw some content from that on your LinkedIn. I'll make sure to tell people, if you aren't connected with Hope already on LinkedIn, make sure you do find her. I got her name at the bottom, Hope Horwitz. Just search her. She'll pop up. Big smile, red hair. You'll see her.
I don't blend in
at all. Me neither, Hope.
You don't either.
Got that in common. So you kind of hinted on the next thing I want to dive into, which is just the storytelling part of it. You help tell the story of the business and the brand. So can you give us a little bit more about that? We have here, every company has stories to tell, even if they don't realize it. I assume you've come across that scenario plenty of times. What is so important about telling the story?
There are a lot of things important about telling the story. PR people, we are storytellers. If we're going to get you coverage in the press, we have to be telling a story. We have to be enticing reporters, news producers, news desk, editors to want to tell the story. The story, we need as publicists to focus on a lot of different things. It's important that when we're looking at a story, or looking for a story, we're focusing on the mission of the company, what they want to accomplish. We then additionally focus on I call it ever-changing goals, because we have a mission that stays the same, but then we have goals that change over time. We could have many goals at once. And so we're looking for stories that fall in with that. We also need to focus on the players, because the stories can come from staff, from employees. We do PR for assisted living. Stories can come from the residents. So all of that is really important. The trick to it is, and the part that people might not realize they have a story, is that every story needs to be newsworthy. They're not going to just tell your story for the hell of it.
Right.
There's got to be a reason that the press think it's interesting enough to share with the community, with the region, with their watchers, readers, listeners, And it's kind of that gift of knowing what's newsworthy, of knowing when there's a current event happening or something pops up, and then we go after the story to our clients. So a great example of that is David Cassidy, who I don't know if everyone knows, but he was on the Partridge Family. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, with dementia, and he went public with it. And that day, I immediately raced to my assisted living client, who has a memory care, straight memory care buildings and memory care wings of the assisted living. And I said, we need to get on top of this. We need to pitch reporters in all of the areas that you have buildings across the country, and let them know, here are tips for noticing if you have Alzheimer's or someone else has them, how to spot the signs, right. And how to care for someone, how to be a caregiver, how to look for help and ask for help. And we actually got a hit in one of the toughest regions that we try to get hits in outside of DC. And we were able to bring a caregiver, a staff member, and a family member onto the set at, I think it's their Fox affiliate, Good Morning DC. I can't remember the name of the show, which is terrible. I should. But so it's because we knew that was going to be newsworthy. It wouldn't be newsworthy in 3 days.
Right.
3 days, it would be old news.
So
and we would have to find something else.
It feels like those added skills, working with a client, understanding what they have going on, and being able to create stories from that, and then also being so on top of current events and knowing what's happening to identify where a story can come from based on what's happening in culture. Like that is a very poignant skill for sure. I know a lot of people can't just do that, especially doing it that quick. And I think one of the other benefits to even transition into kind of talking what we just mentioned before about some of the differences and what this authenticity of PR is. I have here what separates it from marketing. I think that was one key thing is you not only had the concept, which I know from a marketing perspective, we're always looking for creative ways to integrate a client into whatever's going on. But once we have that idea, I like other than making an ad or like a graphic to promote it, we're pretty much done there. You're saying you reached out to different uh, news platforms around the country in a matter of minutes, and we're able to reach out to those individuals and get something done. I feel like that's one of the main things is like I couldn't name the three people who are in media and can actually get something on TV. I'm sure you have thousands.
So the first two bullet points that were on that screen, I'm going to kind of talk about them together. What separates it from marketing and being part of the team is key. So the reason I was able to reach out across the country is because this particular company, Spring Hills Assisted Living, has buildings in across the country. They have buildings in Las Vegas, Ohio, Florida, New Jersey, outside of DC, Texas. I'm like, I know I'm missing something. I have relationships with press in each of those areas because I need to know the press. I need to know what's going on. I also have relationships with each of the buildings with the executive director and the recreation director in this example. And that relationship that I have with them, being a part of their team. I mean, a great example right now with the Bucks County Playhouse, we are promoting Dames at Sea, and we've got Avita coming up. And so with Dames at Sea, I'm talking to different companies, and I have to work with the producers of the show, the marketing department at the Playhouse, the actual people who put the show on, the stage manager and whatnot, as well as work with the news team that we're trying to build a story for. Marketing and PR, we work really well together, but people don't realize we're different. Mm-hmm. So I get requests for marketing all the time. I don't do marketing. I can give you plenty of content for marketing. A lot of the press, that's what we do. There's Avita is coming out as the next show coming out at the Bucks County Playhouse. And we're about to have a marketing meeting just specifically for Avita that we will be on. And so we will create a PR plan strategy for Avita while they're creating their marketing strategy and how we can tie the two together.
Gotcha. And I guess this is really for the up and coming PR folks who are watching. And again, just a reminder to everyone who's checking us out, please like and share and comment. By comments, you can just say, wow, Hope, I love what you're saying. You can say that this is your favorite show ever to watch on LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever you want to write.
Wow, Hope, you're having a fabulous hair day. That never happens.
There you go. Put it on there. But for the folks who are coming up in PR, how do you build relationships with media that are not in your city? And I guess this question was probably even more relevant pre-COVID because, of course, I'm on Zoom every day. I've expanded my reach and who I can connect with, but like I'm very much an in-person relationship builder. How are you going about building these relationships and maintaining all these relationships? There's tons. If you're talking a bunch of media people in a bunch of different cities, how do you maintain that?
So there's a terrible phrase that's so annoying when people say, "Oh, why do you want to get into PR?" "Oh, I'm a people person. I really like people." It's really important that you do. it's a cliche, but you have to understand what the needs are of everyone you're talking to. So I have to understand the needs of my client, which is again based on the mission, the goals and the players, and the personalities of the people I have to work with, right? I need to learn all of that. It's the same thing with media. The media relationship that I build is one of the most important relationships I will build in my job. And it's basically by understanding what they do, how they do it, respecting them in asking them how they want to receive their information. We can do a phone call hey, do you have 15 minutes just so we can chat and learn? I can learn about what it is that you need. I want to make sure I'm giving you the correct stories. It's really important not to send information to a reporter who doesn't cover that. That will irritate a reporter faster than, my kid interrupting me on a Zoom. I said, I need 45 minutes, leave me alone. All of that comes into play. I have to respect them. And whether I'm doing that over email, over the phone, over Zoom, or in person, which is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, get it in person, but it all works. And basically, it's something I've been doing my entire life. I mean, Zach, you and I met. I don't remember if we met on Zoom or if it was a phone call, but after the first conversation, we were like, okay, we missed all of our talking points. We just had the best conversation, and we're like, okay, we need to do this again, and we need to figure out how to work together. Right. That's what it's about. You have to be able to do that.
Awesome. And I know I do want to touch on this before we finish the show. Being a part of the organization you're about to be a president of is a great way to build some of those relationships and connect. We'll jump into that soon. But I did want to touch on one thing before we take a quick little break. Was the last thing there, the importance of writing style, because I don't understand the writing style of the PR community. Tell me a little bit about the importance of that and really what is that style?
So you don't have to love writing. You don't have to dream of being a writer to work in PR, right? I personally don't love to write. It's at the bottom of my list. But you have to know how to do it and you have to be good at it because it is still our most common and most important form of communication. So the writing style is when we write a press release, we have to know what the reporter's looking for, and we have to put that information in the subject, in the title, and in the first paragraph, because we're lucky if they get through the first 3 lines of a paragraph. We cannot expect them to read what's at the bottom. So there's a style to it. I always sometimes I have a little italicized, slightly smaller, hey, this is for, oh my God, all I can come up with right now is National Hot Dog Day, which is not necessarily going to get us a huge thing. But if your story and your pitch is about something pertaining to a current event, you put that up a little tiny bit smaller, maybe 14 point. And then we do the subject in 16 point, right? So it's a little bit bigger and bolded in all caps. And we're saying exactly what you're going to see. Cast, tap dancing, battleship, right? Like all of those pieces have to be in there. And then in that first paragraph, that first sentence has to grab them. And then you're putting the main details. And then I always do a quote in the second paragraph. I always do something that ties the people from the client to what's happening. And it kind of goes down from there. Mm-hmm. And you hope that they, if they read the whole thing, it's like, oh my God, that was fabulous. Because we don't ever expect a reporter, a news desk, whoever to have the time to read your entire press release. So the writing style is really important.
Gotcha. Again, folks, she is dropping gems. Please share with all your businesses that could use this information, your up and coming PR specialists. There's some great gems here you can pick up from Hope. Hope, we're about to do something new because Kevin's not here, and that's when I experiment. So,
great. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, for sure. For the first time ever on Thursday Thoughts, we are going to be doing a new piece called Show Partners. And I'm calling it Show Partners because we do this for the love of sharing information and connecting with folks. We don't want sponsors for this show, but we realize that we create so much awesome content for businesses. Let's start putting them in our productions as if they're commercials and have show partners. Now, of course, if I thought ahead of time, I would be playing a Children's Playhouse video right now. One of your amazing clients that you referred to us, and we created some.
You do videos for
we will
on a website,
right? We will be making that a show partner at a future show. But right now, we're going to take a quick break for a word from some of our favorite clients. We actually just did a promotional video for them, Marlis and Tracy Martin over at Smart and Tidy. So folks, hang with us and check this cool video out.
Hi, I'm Marlis Martin.
And I'm Tracy Martin. And we're so excited to introduce you to the Smart and Tidy Cleaning Academy.
Our academy is a mobile, play-based educational program providing a fun, safe, nurturing, and structured experience for your little ones.
We offer a 45-minute interactive program for up to 25 children, focusing on age-appropriate curriculum for kids ages 3 to 10 years old.
We teach the importance of cleanliness,
the value of teamwork,
and life skills that will stay with your children for years to come.
To book the Smart and Tidy Cleaning Academy for your daycare, preschool, summer camp, or children's program,
visit us at smartandtidy.com
or give us a call at 484-531-7444. We look forward to hearing from you.
That was adorable.
So cute, right?
Yeah. Am I? Do you have more follow up, or am I allowed to jump in with my PR thoughts on them?
You jump in with anything you want.
So that's the cutest thing. And I love when it's like sisters or family. I mean, obviously, I love when it's family. I work with my mother and my sister as our landlord. But I would. They are so prime for publicity, right?
Yeah.
I would actually invite press to what I would do is combine all my different clients. I would have them come to Children's Playhouse, which is a preschool in 2 locations in Philadelphia. And I would invite them there and then invite press to come and learn how to clean from the kids who are learning. And you tie it to COVID, we're all sick of it. You tie it to monkeypox, you tie it to flu season is coming up, to all of those things. And then, wouldn't it be great if your kids came home and cleaned your own house?
That is the payoff. That is the mighty win. See how the PR brain works, y'all? It just comes together like that. I'll have to pass that message on to Tracy and Marlis. But again, look forward to seeing features on different businesses at all Thursday Thoughts we do moving forward. So to jump back into it, let's get into a really important question, which actually kind of leads into having footage like that. You got press, now what? So I think one of the questions is, what can it do for you having this press? But really the big one is, what do you do with it after you got it? After the press has occurred, what's next?
So the first thing I'm going to say is that PR is not guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very nervous before the Dames at Sea event on the battleship, because we often don't find out until that morning if any press are coming.
Mm.
I can't guarantee that it'll happen. What I can guarantee is that I will do my best to make it happen, work with the media, create the right event, and then call the press, talk to them, see if they can come. But then we will also take our own video, which TV will now actually air your video from your cell phone as long as you take it horizontally. And then we will use that and we will send it out as a photo release or a video release after the fact. So it's not guaranteed. So what can it do for you? There's no direct return on investment, which is really scary to some people. It's what you do with the hits that you get that helps. So it's fabulous content. Give it to your marketing team, add it to your newsletter, build your give back reputation. A lot of the things we do, for-profit companies aren't all that newsworthy. So let's make them newsworthy. And a lot of times what we do at FHPR is we partner them with a nonprofit, we partner them with children, we partner them with animals, something. Mm-hmm. So this allows you to build your reputation with your current clients and your prospective clients.
Right.
And then you use that as, all I can come up with is ammunition, as conversation, which is a much better word, as you're building your business, as you're bringing in a new client. And it is fabulous content.
The content part is what really resonates with me, because I focus on being a content creator. And one of the biggest things I tell folks is recycle. Once you have that piece, like, for example, this video, for Smart and Tidy. Like, they could be using this for years to come, but it has to hit their social media. It needs to live on their website. There's so many different places where that can go that's going to help you down the line. Like you said, there's not a guaranteed return on investment. You can't say that business is coming from it today, but
there's not a direct return on, there's not a guarantee that press will show up, and there's not a direct return on investment. I can't say there's no guaranteed return on investment.
Right. I got you.
There's a guaranteed return on investment if you do something with it. It's just not direct. It's not immediate.
And that return on investment can balloon over time, especially if you're repurposing it and it's going in places. The first time I go to anyone's website, one of the first tabs I end up looking at is like press or any place that has validated these folks as being legit. Testimonials, all that kind of stuff is really the first place my eyes go. And if there's nothing there, then, I'm a little hesitant. So definitely use the press you have and continue to use it well after you've received it, for sure.
And I mean, a perfect example is that I'm going to use this video. We can't all show up at noon, right? We've got things going on in our lives that don't always allow us. But so I'm going to make sure that I have this living on my YouTube, which then feeds to my website, and we'll use it on, LinkedIn, and, maybe we'll even use it for PPRA, which will come up in the future. But every piece of it needs to be used. And that's what we encourage. And because we work so well with marketing companies, we can create a pitch that also works in tandem with a marketing campaign.
Right.
And so know what's coming. We've partnered. You won't find two industries work better together than marketing and PR, in my opinion.
Facts. Now, I want to finish up by talking a little bit about the value of PR and just kind of hammering this home. And regardless if you're out there considering a PR firm, whether you're considering Hope's firm, or I'm sure there's other firms you've heard of in the city, let's talk a little bit about the value of having a PR team. Clearly, we know about the strong relationships you have with media, but also the creativity. Let's just touch on those items again of why hire a PR firm versus, just trying to do my own PR.
So it's kind of like hiring an advertising firm. Now, PR and advertising are nothing alike, and everyone thinks we're the same thing. But I look at ads and I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. How do they come up with that? It's what they do. PR is what we do. So we know we tend to be very creative people. We tend to be very energetic people, and we pay attention. And so by listening to, again, I'm going to say it again, your mission, your goals, the people that are there, or being a part of your weekly meetings and hearing the different things that are coming, we know innately what press will kind of hear and listen and like. And then our creativity, what we know how to do is form it and give it to the press in the form that they want, the way they want to hear it, with the lead that, we believe is going to be the hit for them. So it's really important to have all of that information. And again, the better the relationship you have with the media, the more you can work with them. So we're building a fabulous relationship right now with WFMZ, which is out of the Allentown area. And we're actually forming different stories and working together. We actually do this a lot with Good Day Philadelphia. We do it a lot with the morning show at PHL 17. We do it with Philly Live. We do it with a lot of these shows where, because we have such a fabulous relationship with the producers and the talent, we can say, we've got this coming up. We think you'll love this. What do you think? Do you see a different angle? Do you see a different avenue? And we work together to create it. We work, again, really well as a team, and giving them what they need in the timeliness that they need it. You got to work on their schedule. It is not about your schedule. It is their schedule.
100%. And one last thing that popped in my mind when you were saying that, because like as you said, advertising, PR, people think it's the same thing. Like there's so much crossover between a lot of these different sectors. One thing that has become its own industry that is really kind of a part of all of us is social media and social media management. And I know folks who will go to a marketing firm for that. And I know folks who've gone to PR firms for that or advertising agencies. Like it seems like we all have a hand in creating social, usually a little slightly different voice depending on who it is. But what's your take? What if you had to say social media falls under a particular bucket the most? You're giving it to marketing. Okay,
it's marketing.
We win.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that I'm not adding that service to what I do because people call us for it. And it doesn't mean that I don't work with you to offer marketing to my clients or build it bigger within what I do.
Right.
But it's marketing.
Yeah. I think from the PR side of it, major relationship there. But sometimes that relationship is more timely versus marketing's where like we're coming up with campaigns that are running year round and just have to be consistent just for that.
And the only time I'm going to say it's publicity is a situation just like this one. So a lot of what we do also works in building the thought leadership of individuals within our clients. And so we might reach out to you and say, hey, our client would be perfect for this show, for this segment. And then it's kind of both, right? Because we're using it as publicity to get them on air, but it becomes content for their marketing, whether it's on their social media or whether it's on their website or what it is. I mean, ask any of us.
And speaking of
marketing.
Right. And speaking of thought leader, who could be better to have on this show than the future president of the Philadelphia Public Relations Association? Before we get out of here, can you tell people a little bit about that organization, maybe why they should join, what value it can bring to someone?
PPRA is how we refer to it, and it is one of my favorite places. I was raised in it. My mother is a past Hall of Famer and a past president. So I literally grew up at different PPRA events. It's filled with PR professionals and some marketing professionals who genuinely want to be there to grow and help each other grow. So we offer a lot of different kinds of events. We offer webinars, but they're typically based in education. So, if you're figuring out how to use LinkedIn, we might have a course on that. I'm really excited because I'm about to put together in-studio meetings. So I'm going to call the people at the 5 stations, 6, 10, 3, Fox, and PHL, and work on getting an event for our people, our members, to come and sit in the studio and have a conversation with the producers. It's just I have built the most fabulous relationships there, and I can't even tell you how much I get out of it. There's no words.
Awesome. First off, that sounds interesting and amazing, and I kind of wanted to anyway, but that's a nice little cherry on top to allow me to say I will be joining. So let me know what I need to do to sign up. I'm in there.
I will.
I'm just now in that process of like really pushing myself to get more out. I've really kind of been sheltered since COVID. I've gone to some events.
We do a lot of Zoom. I like in person because I like building that relationship, but I'm capable of building a relationship on Zoom. I do it everywhere. I will say that in PPRA, we do a lot of education based. And one of the things that I feel really strong about is partnerships, right? We don't live on an island. We can't operate on an island. We have to work with other people to be successful. So I want to see PPRA work with other organizations and have networking opportunities, maybe these other organizations can come to our events at the member rate. Maybe we can go to their events at the member rate. So I'm working on building these relationships with, different journalist organizations, with, ad organizations, with marketing organizations, so that if you're a member of PPRA, you have access to so much more. And it just becomes a fuller opportunity.
Sounds like you're the right person for the job. Congratulations, President. Listen, this was so great. I enjoyed having you on the show, Hope. Just a little bit of house cleaning to tell the folks who are watching. You're going to want to tune in next month for I don't know who, because we haven't locked someone in yet. If you're interested in being a guest on this show and talking about your profession and educating our small business audience, please let us know. Either the 16th or the 23rd of September is available. But what I do know is in October, we got my girl Sheldon. This is her second time on the show. We only
I was
have.
going to say, I've seen her on your show, and Sheldon is fabulous. And I have a list of things I want to follow up with Sheldon about.
Yeah, you have to be a rock star to be welcomed back. So I think she's only our third two-time guest.
I'm gonna remember that and see if I ever get welcomed back.
You didn't know. I already put you on the calendar for 2023. But yes, Sheldon will be here October 21st. We're going to talk about the value of content and how to make it. She's doing that currently right now with a 3 or 4 day program she has running. I wish I had copied the link and I put it there, but I'll put the link under the description on LinkedIn and YouTube.
I would like to find that link, so definitely share that.
Yep, I will send it to you right after we get off here. But any last words for our audience that you would like to share, Hope?
PR is really fun. My mother hates when I use that word. She thinks it kind of lessens it, right? Like we need to maximize opportunities, connect people, energize. But the truth is what I do is really fun. I love it. And I love helping other people find their stories. It's super fun. I mean, like it's just kind of a goofy thing to say, but it's effective. It's important. And it's fun.
I'm in the same boat with you, Hope. I enjoy it as well. And I can't not leave without hitting people with cuteness again.
Yay.
So again, shout out to the Homers and Lucas Edward. I'm sure Kevin will be back on the show next month. Maybe we'll have a pop-in, like a real live, look at Lucas. We shall see. But again, Thank you everyone for watching, for tuning in. Please continue to like, comment, share. You can also ask Hope questions in the comments after we are live. Throw them on in there. And we'll see you next month. Everyone have a lovely rest of your Thursday and an even better weekend coming up. Peace.
Thank you.